Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Lebanon, Tennessee for the Activity Hub Bali Nashville 200 NASCAR Open Truck Series presented by Activity Hub Bali. The penultimate race here in the series, going to be going to Darlington for a championship next week, but we got one more to go before we get there. It's going to be Nashville, Music City Super Speedway here tonight. Hope everybody's excited, as excited as I am for sure. Let's go down and see some of practice just wrapping up, about 5 minutes or less remaining. Currently on top of the board, the 52 of Aiden Schultz. It was Jason Holdsworth for quite a while. Holdsworth put down a pretty similar lap in an earlier practice. Actually was able to pull off a 29.79. Granted, that was under darkness. Cooler track conditions were prevailing there. Aiden Schultz, though, a 29.76 in the daylight. Pretty good times, really, for our top two for sure. Really, even Adam Malone in the third position, that number 4 truck. Are only 11 trucks to make it into the session thus far. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see this be a kind of a short field tonight. Reason being, it's not that the series is poor. It's actually a really great series. It's been fun to call the action. These guys run a really clean race, competitive, fast. But it is kind of Bathurst weekend, so there's a lot of race fans out there keeping an eyeball on that instead. If you're not in it for the points, well, if it was me, and it was Daytona 500 weekend, I'd be sitting this one out myself as well, so I don't blame anybody if that's the case. But either way, still in store for a good race this evening. Nashville 200 coming up in just a few moments. We got less than 3 minutes left in the practice session. We'll get into qualifying, set the field for tonight's event. We get into qualifying, we're going to take another short break and get a word from our sponsors. Be back with you in time for qualifying. Welcome back to Nashville Super Speedway. Practice is all but over here at the Speedway. Aiden Schultz, top of the board. Jason Holdsworth, second. Adam Malone, third. Glenn Klein, fourth fast. And Raymond Yeager rounds out the top 5 in the session. Pretty wide disparity of times, first to 11th, almost a full second. Back to the 11th spot with Brett Campbell. We'll have to see if this improves in the qualifying session, which we're going to get into in just a moment here. It's like Michael Shore is going to be the first truck to leave the pit lane. Michael Shore in that SimRacerMerch.com 07 truck. New company for Shorey, trying to spread the word there. SimRacersMerch.com, SimRacerMerch.com. I always add the S there. That's not just some sponsor. That's I think that's Mike's company. So stop on down, check out the site, see what he's got to offer. Don't let me spoil it for you. Green flag on the qualifying lap out for the 07 of Michael Shore. Lap 1 in the books for Mike Shore, a 30.543. Just as quick as I say it, Yeager and Campbell knock him off to provisional pole. Let's take a look at Aiden Schultz getting ready to get his lap underway here at Nashville. Big threat for the pole here. Aiden fastest in practice. First lap for Aiden Schultz at 29.92, top of the board. About what he ran in the practice session, maybe a little bit slower, but not a whole lot. See if he's going to keep the gas pedal in it. Lap 2 sounds like it into turn number 3. See if he can improve. Lap 2 for Aiden, a 30.091. Still on top of the board. Jason Holdsworth now. Unless some guys were sandbagging in the practice, this is likely the only threat for the pole. Jason was able to run, I think it was a 29.9 in the practice session this afternoon. We'll see if he can match that. If so, if it's a low 0.9 lap, he's going to have the pole. Green flag, 29.98. It's a high 90. Let's see if he can pick it up on lap 2. It's not even quite enough for the front row. Right now, Glenn Klein sits there in second place, just ahead. Usually with these stock cars and trucks, first lap is typically the best, at least as far as the tires are concerned. That's the best they're going to be. Lap 2 for Jason Holdsworth up on the board. A 29.85 put the one truck in the P1 position. Jason Holdsworth knocks Aiden Schultz off of the pole. Quick lap by the one NitroRacing.com truck. Sean Stamper late into the session, but hey, better late than never. That number 9 on track. Again, for whatever reason, we still have a scoring issue with it showing as a number 3 and not the 9, but on track, you see the number 9, so we're going to call it the number 9. Sean Stamper out for his qualifying attempt. First lap for Stamper, a 30.88. As I said, I think Sean just got into the session, so this may almost be a practice for him. I know it's only a few laps, but at least get a few in, get a feel for the place, and go from there. Lap 2 a little quicker, 30.685 for Stamper. It still keeps him in the 11th position. Appears that everyone has taken a time. There we go. Overlay's got a little nuts on me. All right. Starting grid, number 1, P1, Jason Holdsworth with Nitro Racing. A 29.855 second lap for Jason Holdsworth. Improved his time off practice. Beats Aiden Schultz on that outside lane. Aussie Esports Racing. About half a tenth slower, but Aiden Schultz on the front row on the outside lane. Starting from the 3rd spot, Glenn Klein, the number 64. Adam Malone is going to roll off 4th. Andy Barber in the 5 is going to roll off from the 5th position. Raven Yeager is going to roll off 6th in the number 23. Tristan Coach in the 550 will be our 7th starter on the afternoon. Starting 8th, Maxie Marshall in the 7. 9th, Brett Campbell. 10th will be Mike Shore. Sean Stamper is going to roll off 11th. Derek Jacobs, last but not least, will roll off 12th. As I said, a short field here this afternoon. I'm actually used to seeing 25 trucks here, but it is Bathurst weekend, so I expect that some guys are keeping their eyeballs on that. No shame in it. I don't blame them. I'd probably be doing the same thing. But for those of you that are here joining us for tonight's race, thank you for being here. Hopefully we get some good action here tonight in the Nashville 200. Jason Holdsworth from the pole position, bringing them down. Pace car hitting the pit lane, waiting on the green flag. We'll be underway in just a minute.
Green flag.
Jason Holdsworth off and away, seemingly early. Not sure the rule on that. You know, it's been all season. I haven't even asked about it. Usually the initial starts on the green flag, but we've got a wreck already. Glenn Klein, Adam Malone involved. Very uncharacteristic for the first lap of the race with this Activity Hub Volley Open Truck Series. Let's take a look, see what happened with Glenn Klein and Adam Malone. See Glenn Klein in the 64 and Adam Malone in the 4. Black and green truck in the high side, the 64 Hot Wheels down low. Might need a better look at that one. On the initial start, And the second row trucks. Looks like the 64 just slid up in front of the 4. Both trucks get hooked into the wall. Big wreck early here at the start. It's a Nashville 200. We didn't quite get into it, but we got 151 laps in store here tonight, the Nashville 200. Pit window's about 58 laps, plus or minus a few. Just depends on how far you can save it. They do have 2 sets of tires over the wall. 78 degrees here at the track today. Partly cloudy skies, 56% humidity, and a very light breeze. Track temperature 86 degrees right now here. While we're under yellow, we're going to take another very short break. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Nashville Super Speedway, the Activity Hub Ollie Nashville 200 opening lap. First wreck already. Adam Malone and Glenn Klein involved going into one. 2 trucks wanting the same piece of real estate, neither willing to give. No fast repairs. Those 2 are in the pits trying to get those trucks repaired and back out there, but we shall see if they return. As of now, 10 trucks still on the track and on the lead lap. Lights are off on top of the pace car. We're going to be going green this time by. Anticipate the iRacing pace car to hit pit lane. It does. Be going back underway here. Jason Holdsworth in the gas. Green flag in the air. Again, Jason Holdsworth sporting that NitroRacing.com paint scheme. That's Nitro-Racing.com. That is a iRacing setup shop. So if you're in need of a good setup, I know last week Jason was talking they won 19 official races on those setups. So if you're looking for something different outside the box, it's certainly quick. Check them out. Jason Holdsworth out to about a half-second advantage over Aiden Schultz. Coming into tonight, Holdsworth is the points leader. Aiden Schultz only 23 back. We've got this race and the next for Aiden to try and overtake the one of Holdsworth. Mathematically possible. And then we have Tom Pritchard running in the 3rd position in the point standings. He's 70 back. Not 100% sure what the point structure is. It would need to be a catastrophic turn of events for Pritchard to be able to take home the championship at this point, but he's not out of it entirely. Kind of the same goes for Andy Barber. I think Kevin A. Smith, especially seeing as how he has not joined tonight's race, really has neither has Tom Pritchard. So it's going to be down really between Jason Holdsworth and Aiden Schultz. Andy Barber, he's in the race. He's really set to gain some positions in the points. He's only 3 behind Pritchard, and with Pritchard not showing up to run tonight, at minimum, Andy Barber is going to take over possession of the 3rd place in the point standings. Meanwhile, lap 9, Aiden Schultz has caught the one of Jason Holdsworth at this point. Maybe a truck between the two, but that gap was a half a second just a few laps ago. It's down to less than 2/10. Jason Holdsworth still continues to lead. Top 3 in the league of their own. Jason Holdsworth still on point. Aiden Schultz second. Andy Barber is third. Andy's up 2 spots from where he started this evening's race. Maxie Marshall, Brett Campbell, your top 5. See a handful of viewers here watching tonight's race. Thank you for being here. Feel free to chime in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Either one is fine. Love to hear from you. Like to interact with you guys, especially if we get a little bit of a lull. Certainly field some questions if you have any. Can't guarantee I'll have the answers, but I'll give it a shot. Lap 14, and Aiden Schultz has made a pass for the lead on Jason Holdsworth. Moved to 52. Aussie Esports Machine to the lead. Again, we're working open setups here, so some of these guys may be set for shorter runs, some maybe for longer. You're going to see things change as these tires wear out, the temperature in the track changes. It's a late afternoon race, so things will get a little cooler as far as track temperature is concerned. That does change the handling characteristics of these trucks. See, Aiden Schultz has already gapped the one truck to about 3 to 4/10 of a second. I do apologize. We're having a little bit of an issue on the Facebook side of things with the bit rate. We've gotten it back. We keep trying. So far, so good. It happens every now and again, but let us know if you see any issues on either side, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, but it appears we are back up and running on both. kind of go through the field here while we have some green flag stretches. Again, Aiden Schultz in the lead, started second out of Moreton Bay, Queensland, Australia. The Aussie Esports number 52. Aiden Schultz second in the points, needs a good run, maybe even a win here today. Take over that points lead, but again, Jason Holdsworth not going to give up too much ground if he keeps running in that second spot. Jason Holdsworth, the NitroRacing.com, nitro-racing.com, number 1 Toyota Tundra. Current point leader, but running second here in the race. Aiden Schultz happy to be out front, but wishes that gap was much larger than it is. Andy Barber running in third. Andy Barber's fourth in the points, stands to gain a position as the third place driver. Tom Pritchard did not make the event here tonight. Andy Barber in that 5 out of Brisbane, Australia. Iona Holiday Park on that truck. Southern Stars Race Team is the team that he runs with. Back to Maxie Marshall. Gotta love the old school Rusty Wallace Miller Genuine Draft paint. That number 7 truck looks good in that livery. Maxie running in the 4th position. Raymond Yeager in the number 23 out of South Australia. The Sim Racing Edge on that truck. Running 5th, he's up 1 spot from where he started. He does have a win on the season so far, but so far good run for the 23 of Raymond Yeager. Brett Campbell in the 015, also of Aussie Esports. Love that he's got Woody on the back. I can only hope that that's his nickname. Campbell running in the 7th spot. Meanwhile, Tristan Coach has actually passed him for the 6th position. Also an Aussie Esports machine at 550. Sean Stamper late to the event, but he made qualifying and he's here and he's running still, running in the 8th position. Thor Esports also got the Mac House on the hood of that number 9 Ford F-150. It's up 3 spots from where he qualified. And Michael Shore, the 07 out of Perth, Australia. SimRacerMerch.com. I'm going to have to check it out after the race. Got to see what he's got going on there. Meanwhile, Derek Jacobs, though, making a pass around Michael in the number 99, Southern Stars Esports. Chevy Silverado. Derek Jacobs is in the 9th position, up 3 spots from where he started. And then we have Adam Malone, who's just leaving the pits, involved in that first turn incident with Glenn Klein. Glenn's still on the pit lane in that Hot Wheels machine. Still affecting repairs on it. Maybe see him return to the track. We shall see. Still up front, Aiden Schultz, Jason Holdsworth, top 2, starting to put some distance on the 5 of Andy Barber. Last laps for the leaders, Aiden Schultz was a 31:15, Jason Holdsworth a 31:09, so he is a bit quicker, that time at least, and then a 31:24 for Barber. This time the top 2 about dead even, maybe 100th of a second between the 2, but a 10th and a half back to Andy Barber. So leaders are certainly putting a little bit of distance on the 5 at this point in the going. Aiden Schultz, Jason Holdsworth, Lap 28, still the top two. Andy Barber third. Maxie Marshall fourth. Raymond Yeager fifth. Top two trucks running almost identical lap times, maybe within a tenth of each other back and forth, lap to lap. Kind of interesting looking at the graphic. They're all running about the same top speed. Jason Holdsworth cracked a 169, Schultz a 168, but Andy Barber, lap previous, showed a 174. I'm wondering if these guys are starting to try and save a little bit of tire. Again, I haven't been behind the wheel in these trucks, at least here at Nashville, Super Speedway that is, to see what kind of tire wear that they really do get, how bad they fall off, if it's even an issue. Possibly some tire conservation going on here relatively early. We're about halfway through a fuel run. Field all pretty spread out at this point in the race. No major battles really of any consequence going on. You do see the 99 of Jacobs, Sean Stamper in behind. Maybe some pressure coming from the 9 here shortly, but nothing at the moment. Michael Shore, last truck on the lead lap, kind of all by himself. We'll watch this. This is the battle here for the 8th position. Derek Jacobs has it. Sean Stamper wants it. The 9 does gain some ground through 1 and 2. Derek Jacobs actually drives off turn 4 a little bit better than the 9, puts the gap back on Sean Stamper. See how they get through 1 once again. Off 2, the 9 truck is a bit quicker than the 99 of Jacobs. Takes a little peek to the inside. No room yet to do anything with it. Still no battle up front. Aiden Schultz, Jason Holdsworth, your top 2. Looking back with Maxie Marshall and the 7. It's Raymond Yeager. Raymond Yeager making the move to the inside of the 7. Move Yeager up to 4th. Aiden Schultz still your leader. Just over half a second over Jason Holdsworth. Andy Barber in third. Raven Yeager now up to fourth. Maxie Marshall to the top five. About to put the 07 of Michael Shore a lap down here, lap 39 of 151. Activity Hub Bali Nashville 200. So far, only one caution right at the opening lap, and green ever since. So Michael Shore going a lap down to our leaders. Wants to chat. Stream chat is empty. YouTube or Facebook, guys, say hello. Long green flag runs can be challenging. I need someone to talk to. Closest battle on the track right now is indeed Aiden Schultz and Jason Holdsworth. Positions 1 and 2, but they're really not all that close. Half a second back to the one truck of Holdsworth. I imagine Jason's not going to be too aggressive here tonight. He doesn't really need to be. Comes into tonight with a pretty significant lead, 23 points back to Schultz. Where he sits right now, the point deficit pretty minimal. Even if Aiden wins tonight, wins next week, and Holdsworth finishes second, Jason's still going to claim the championship. .44 laps in here, lap 44 of 151. Jason Holdsworth starting to close some ground a little bit here on the leader, Aiden Schultz. It was a 0.6 deficit, now down to just over 0.4 of a deficit. Don't know if Jason's just putting the pressure on here late or if the truck is starting to come to him while Aiden Schultz the other direction. About 4 truck lengths back to the 1 off turn number 2 down the backstretch. Andy Barber just getting off turn number 2 just now. He's our third place truck. Interesting to see how pit stops shake all this out later on, maybe in about 10 laps, maybe a bit more, depending on the fuel save. Gap to second just over 0.3 this time, lap 46. Slowly but surely, the 1 is gaining. We do have some trucks in the pit lane. Stamper, Jacobs, Marshall, Michael Shore. And Jason Holdsworth hitting the pit lane. Somewhat early for the one truck of Jason Holdsworth. We thought that the pit window was at least 55 laps. Here we are, lap 47. The one truck in the pit lane getting fuel. Right sides and lefts. Full service all the way around. Jason Holdsworth down and away. Decent stop for the one, a 14.75 second pit stop. Now we have Aiden Schultz coming to the attention of his pit crew. Number 52 Aussie Esports truck, right sides in the air. Sunoco Racing fuel going in and left side tires going on. 4 tires stopped in fuel for the 52 of Aiden Schultz. Another good stop, slightly quicker than Jason Holdsworth, a 14.63 for the 52. Raymond Yeager led a lap, but now he is in the pit lane as well. Looks like 4 tires in fuel for everybody out on track. Don't see anybody gambling just yet. 23 comes to a stop in his pit box. Right sides go in the air as well. Fuel going in. Jackman around to the left side. 4 tires in fuel for the 23. Raymond Yeager down and away. Meanwhile, Jason Holdsworth has inherited the lead back after his pit cycle. Holdsworth definitely made up some time on the in and out from the pit lane, as Aiden Schultz did have a quicker stop. Jason Holdsworth does manage to get out back in front. Lap 49 of 151. We're just about a third of the way through the Nashville 200. We're going to take a short break, but we're not going to miss a thing. I'll keep the cameras right here with all the exciting action, and I'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't miss a thing. We kept the cameras open for everybody. Had to step away from the mic for just a moment or two, but thank you for sticking with us. See, Eddie Rose has joined us in the chat. Eddie, thanks for saying hello. Been a quiet night here at Nashville Super Speedway. Other than the opening lap caution, we've been clean and green since then. Jason Holdsworth still leads after the pit cycle. Managed to gain about 2+ seconds. It's a 2.6 second deficit back to the 52 of Aiden Schultz this time. Holdsworth entered the pits from the second spot. Aiden Schultz as the leader the next lap later. From watching these races in the Activity Hub Valley Open Truck Series, it's no surprise that Jason Holdsworth has gotten the lead back on a pit cycle. He's seemingly mastered entry and exit of the pit lane, finding a way to gain time in that sequence. Again, it was only about a 1/10 of a second difference between Holdsworth and Schultz as far as the pit stop time was concerned, but the overall in and out, pit entry to pit exit, seems to be that's where the one truck excels. It's put a pretty significant gap back to the 52 of Aiden Schultz. It's almost a 3-second advantage now for the one truck. $60 laps in the books. While all this was going on, we do see that Brett Campbell may have crashed in that number 15 truck. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. We'll go to the blimp. This is exiting pit lane. We'll speed things up a little bit. See it in real time. The 015 machine leaving the pit lane. This may have been on his scheduled stop. Just loses it on exit. Cold tires. Having all sorts of trouble getting out of the pit lane and off that side road there. The pit exit lane, so to speak. See if he makes it all the way back through to the blend line. I can only assume that Campbell did get a black flag for unsafe exit. Brett Campbell running in the 8th position, though, still one spot up from where he started. Let's ride on board with the one truck of Jason Holdsworth. Let's see if he's in fuel save mode yet. Not being too aggressive, but not clutching it on entry like some of these guys will do if they're really trying to save a ton of fuel. It takes a lot of coordination to make that work properly, but some guys are really good at it. I know it's kind of a practice that I make if I'm racing, whether it's in a road course series or in the NASCAR series in the ovals. It doesn't matter. If I have an opportunity to save fuel, I'm going to save fuel because it means I might be able to go that extra lap or two on the cycle. make that final stop even later and have a little bit more tire at the end so I can kind of abuse them as much as I need to run some fast laps late. Not everybody's strategy, and it doesn't always work out, but it is definitely a strategy. We'll go back through the field here once again. Jason Holdsworth, of course, your leader from the pole. First third of the race seemingly led by Aiden Schultz. For now, Jason Holdsworth, your leader. 2.8 seconds back is the 52 of Aiden Schultz. Again, Aiden was leading quite a bit. I think he took over the lead about lap 15. Most recent cycle of pit stops, he lost the lead and unfortunately is back quite a ways from the leader, Jason Holdsworth. Andy Barber in the 5 still runs in the 3rd position. Raymond Yeager in the 23 truck. He is in the 4th spot. Jacobs in the 99 is the last car in the top 5. Derek Jacobs running 5th, 7 positions better from where he started. Again, late arrival Sean Stamper currently running in the 6th position. A good run for the 9 so far this afternoon here at Nashville Superspeedway. Tristan Coach runs 7th in the 550 Aussie Esports machine. Brett Campbell in the 015. Another Aussie Esports machine. Some damage on the right side there. Not sure if that had anything to do with his issues exiting the pit lane, but nevertheless, the right side of that truck certainly not as beautiful as the left. Maxie Marshall again in that Miller Genuine Draft number 7, the Rusty Wallace throwback. Maxie's running in the 9th spot. Michael Shore running 10th in the 07 SimRacerMerch.com Chevy Silverado. You have 2 cars off the track right now. It is Adam Malone and Glenn Klein. Adam and Glenn were the 2 involved, I believe, in our first lap incident. Jason Holdsworth really clicking off the laps, though, puts Sean Stamper a lap down. Sean was our top 5 driver, running in the 5th spot. Got his sights set on the 99 of Derek Jacobs at this point, trying to put the 4th place truck a lap down. Holdsworth just going by the 015 of Campbell. Derek Jacobs, though, still technically on the lead lap, but in a couple of more car lengths, he's going to have a whole mirror full of the 1 truck of Jason Holdsworth. Lap 75 goes on the board just shy of halfway. Unless we make it to the backstretch, we'll call that the halfway point officially. 75.5 times 2 gives you that 151 laps. I know we're counting pennies, but either way, halfway it is. Jason Holdsworth tucked in behind the 99 of Derek Jacobs. Derek Jacobs now technically in the 3rd spot. Not sure what happened with Andy Barber. I don't see any issues other than Andy did take a pit. I don't see any issues with the 5 truck right now. Andy was running in the 3rd spot. Decided to pit. That was at lap 73, or 3 laps ago. These guys are trying to get off cycle at this point. Brett Campbell, Tristan Coach in the pit lane, the 550 Aussie Esports Chevy Silverado. Curious to see if they take tires because they only had 2 sets over the wall. Yeah, right side's going up for the 550. Last set of tires going on. He's going to have to get it all the way to the end on that final set. Very interesting. Meanwhile, Jason Holdsworth still working around the 99 of Jacobs to put the 99 down a lap. Into turn 1, Holdsworth goes. The 99 still battling back up in that high lane, but it looks like the 1's going to get him clear here off turn number 2. Brett Campbell back on pit lane. See the right side of that truck badly damaged, possibly going to get some repairs done. Jason Holdsworth still out front, 3-second advantage over Aiden Schultz. Holdsworth with 2 wins already on the season. I think it may have been Talladega and definitely last week, Homestead Miami Speedway. Schultz winless so far this season. Which is rather surprising because the 52 has shown some serious pace throughout the season. He's always been running around up front. Quick times in practice, quick times in qualifying, always there at the end. But a 0 in the W column so far this season. Aiden Schultz working around the 9 of Sean Stamper. Not for position. Aiden Schultz still running in the 2nd spot. Just finally putting his own lap on the 9 truck. Next in the sights will be Derek Jacobs in the 99 Southern Stars Esports machine. I would start to expect to see our leaders hit the pit lane here in the next 3 to 5 laps, just based on their first pit stop at about lap 46 and 47. Just basing it off that alone, if they go to the same pit cycle. See Derek Jacobs already hitting the pit lane here. Gap back to the 52 of Aiden Schultz from Jason Holdsworth is reducing. Granted, it is still 2 seconds, but it was about 2.84 seconds just a few laps ago. I don't know if Holdsworth is in kind of fuel save mode or saving tires or a little bit of both. Either way, the 52 is starting to close ground ever so slightly. Again, not far from our second round of green flag stops. And here it is, Jason Holdsworth entering the pit lane. Good pit entry for the one truck, the nitro-racing.com Toyota Tundra. Pretty clean truck other than that. Aiden Schultz stays out to resume the lead. Into his pit stall goes the one truck. Right side's going on. Last set of tires for Jason Holdsworth. Sunoco Racing fuel going in as well. Left side's in the air as well. 4 tires and fuel. Final stop of the day, at least for tires. Aiden Schultz, same thing. Aiden, the 52, he hits pit road in the Aussie Esports Toyota Tundra. This stays green the rest of the way, even in optimal conditions. 50s, 42, it's gonna be close. These guys are really gonna need to save fuel. I spoke with Jason Holdsworth earlier on in the evening pre-race, and he said 58 laps for fuel. Didn't get a chance to follow up and see if that was in fuel save or if that's the typical window, but we're right on that line. Holdsworth pit just a lap earlier than Aiden Schultz. We're going to have to see how this shakes out. If we stay green all the way to the end, we may have some trucks sputtering coming to the flag. On that cycle, Aiden Schultz does get out first. Looks like Aiden went with fuel only, no tires, 6.72 seconds on his stop. Jason Holdsworth just over a 15 flat, so 4 tires and fuel for the 1. Aiden went with gas only. So with that said, the 50 True of Aiden Schultz does have a set of tires still over the pit wall. I'm not super confident we're going to get a yellow here between now and lap 151, though of course anything is possible. We stay green here lap 94. We've been green since the pretty much drop of the initial, other than one caution at the start going into turn number 1. We've been incident free here the balance of the afternoon. Jason Holdsworth right on that back bumper of Aiden Schultz. Of course, Jason with fresh tires. Warpham Gaming chiming in the chat. Yeah, a little light on entry. I believe there's a pretty significant event going on at Bathurst this weekend. So my guess is we got a lot of guys that decided, you know what, I'm not in the hunt for this championship. I'm going to stay home and watch that. Can't say that I blame them. If it was Daytona 500 weekend, I'd be doing the same thing unless I was contractually obligated to call the race. I think I would have planned out my schedule better than that, but anything's possible. Either way, battle up front here. Aiden Schultz, Jason Holdsworth, the 1 truck looking down low. Yeah, I forgot you guys are 12 hours ahead of us. I'm sipping on a beer and calling a race. You're just getting out of bed. God bless you. Jason Holdsworth has cleared the 52 of Aiden Schultz. Will keep us updated on Bathurst. Lap 33 of 161. So when this is over, everybody switch over and watch that. Don't go away, though. This is going to turn into something. I believe Jason Holdsworth, unless he manages to save some fuel, which he has the liberty to do with fresh tires versus Aiden Schultz. He did not get tires. He tried to get that track position. It didn't seem to work out at this point because Holdsworth has worked his way around. No relation to Jason. Nice. Well, thanks for chiming in the stream chat. There's only been a couple of you guys tonight. I think everybody's keeping their eyeballs on that. Again, I can't say that I blame anybody for doing it. Still got a race to run here. 51 to go. The Activity Hub Molly Nashville 200. Jason Holdsworth, your leader. Aiden Schultz on old tires is second. Aiden is crossing his fingers, hoping and praying that somebody in this pack manages to stuff it in the fence, bring out a caution, because without that, Aiden is going to be, at best, a second place truck, provided the one of Holdsworth can make it to the end on fuel. Aiden Schultz 1 lap more fuel on his vehicle than the 1 truck of Holdsworth. Again, pre-race, Holdsworth said 58 laps on the tank, but again, I don't know if that's fuel safe mode or the average. Holdsworth pit lap 90. That would be a 60 lap run to the finish if he could pull it off. Even still, Aiden Schultz pit lap 91. That's 59 laps. That's still a lap above what he quoted. Gonna have to see. It's gonna be really close for these leaders. Raymond Yeager up to the 3rd spot. He pit lap 69, so he's definitely gonna need to stop for fuel at some point. But if he does so and decides he's gonna take tires, which I can only assume he has a set still, fingers crossed. Looking at his last pit was 7.5 seconds. So yeah, I mean, that's not a tire stop. Maybe he just got fuel. Running 3rd right now, he may be at an advantage. We'll have to see how it pans out. It's the thing about these races that go green so long that's nice about this Full Throttle Sim Racing League Activity Hub Open Truck Series is that there's so much strategy and it just kind of comes together late in the race. Kind of got to play it by ear and watch and say, all right, well, there's, they run so many green flag laps. You almost got to look at every oval race like a road course. Who's going to short pit? Kind of work the race backwards. Do you make that final stop so you have just enough fuel to make it to the end? But we're going to have to see. Yeah, Warpham Gaming in the chat again. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it's 75% fuel that would make them only 45 laps. Yeah, originally Jason said it was along the lines of 45 laps. It's funny because I got a message from Jason at some point. I don't know if he's typing me while he's racing. If he is, more power to him. But he sent me a private message. Ignore the 58 laps. Okay, well, 58 laps, I guess, is thrown out the window. Initially, he said 75% fuel. It's about 45 laps, maybe 50 if you save. So if that remains true, then everybody's going to have to come to pit road at least once here late. Now, with Aiden Schultz, that being in mind, he's got a set of tires over the wall still. Jason Holdsworth, we saw him change 2 sets. He said there was only 2 sets over the wall, so he's done with tires. So he'll have a short stop. Aiden Schultz, though, waiting on a set of 4 fresh fuel goods for that final run to the finish. It's like a tongue twister. Michael Shore in the chat, and he's driving. What is with you guys and trying to text me while you're driving? Michael Shore saying 40 laps is the fuel run. We're getting all kinds of data here. I mean, no, they went more than that initially. I mean, I think it was 42 that the leaders went the first time. I don't know. If I had time to jump in these cars before I got into the stream, I'd run a fuel run myself, but who knows? Lap 109 of 151, Holdsworth still leads. He's got 10 seconds on the 52 of Aiden Schultz. Reason being, Holdsworth on fresh rubber. The 52 of Aiden Schultz does not. However, the 52 does have a set over the wall. I can only expect him to take at least 2 on his next stop. Warpham Gaming making the comment, you can pit now and make it to the end. This is true. Lap 110 of 151, 40 and a half laps to go. Aiden Schultz, though, in the pit lane. Let's take a look. Let's see if he takes tires. Kind of pulling the undercut here on Jason Holdsworth, who really can only stop for fuel at this point. .52 of Aiden Schultz in the pits, right side's in the air. Sunoco Racing fuel going in to get him to the end. Jackman around to the left side, it goes in the air as well. 4 tires and fuel for the Aussie Esports number 52. Aiden Schultz down and away. Clean stop for the 52. 14.48 seconds. Great stop for the 52. Now it's time to make up some ground. He's got 39 laps left to do it. Let's see if he can bring it home and get the 52 Aussie Esports machine a win on the season before we roll into Darlington. Now we wait for the one truck of Jason Holdsworth, a Nitro Racing machine. When will he make his dive to the pit lane? Right now, he is the only car on the lead lap. Jason Holdsworth, the leader on a lap of his own. That will change coming to the end unless we happen to get a caution. Then we still have that lucky dog, but can only assume that Aiden Schultz would be the lucky dog recipient if that were to happen, so we'd still have a fight on our hands. Jason Holdsworth with about a lap and a half advantage over the 52. Aiden Schultz, however, last lap, fastest on the track, a 30.05 to Jason Holdsworth's 31.24. Raymond Yeager bests that, a 30.03. Raymond Yeager actually holding the fastest lap of the race with that lap. As soon as I say that, of course, Aiden Schultz knocks down a 29.98. Jason Holdsworth, though, in the pit lane for the final time. Expect fuel only on the one truck of Jason Holdsworth. Into a stall clean, Jason Holdsworth. Final stop of the day, fuel only. 1, 2, 3, and he's down and away. Jason Holdsworth, his stop of 7.82 in the box. Almost seems a little bit long for just fuel to the end. Holdsworth down and away, working his way off the exit road into the racing surface. As of right now, Aiden Schultz, 12 point. Time is clicking away, 11 seconds back at this point. Jason Holdsworth still with the lead, but now Aiden Schultz with the tire advantage, 10.3 seconds away. He's got plenty of time to make it back up there. We're going to have to see what kind of laps Holdsworth's able to make on this old tire. Four trucks on the lead lap. Holdsworth, Schultz, Yeager, and Barber, your top four. Derek Jacobs runs fifth, but not on the lead lap. Aiden Schultz is catching the one in a hurry. 7.2 seconds and closing. Pit stops are done for the afternoon. Just going to be a battle to the finish. Aiden Schultz has to catch and then pass the one truck. Jason Holdsworth, again, our point leader. Aiden Schultz also second in the points at this point. Not going to gain a whole lot of ground if he pulls off a win here, but he certainly wants to bring home a checkered flag. He's got a good opportunity here. 6.4 seconds the deficit now. Lap 120 of 151. Jason Holdsworth can only hope to hold off the 52 here late. No doubt about it, the 52 is going to get there. It's just a matter of when and can he make the pass when he does. running out of daylight here in Nashville Super Speedway. Sun just beginning to set on this afternoon's activities. The Activity Hub Bali Nashville 200. Aiden Schultz running second, 4.5 seconds back from Jason Holdsworth. Holdsworth on old tires. The 52 got some new ones, definitely running faster. Schultz ran a 30.66 to Holdsworth's 31.33 the last time by. 3.8 seconds, the deficit back to the 52 of Aiden Schultz. Plenty of time still left in this afternoon's race. Aiden Schultz, I can almost guarantee, is going to catch the one of Holdsworth here late in the going. Plenty of lap traffic also involved, though. He's going to have to negotiate those trucks, get around clean, just to not lose any ground to the one. No sense in wasting the fresh tires on getting around lap traffic. Ooh, little wiggle from the one truck off turn number 2. Jason Holdsworth trying to nurse those tires home. Almost throws it away off the corner, down the backstretch into 3. Deficit back to the 52, 1.79 seconds with 25 to go. Aiden Schultz may have lost a little bit of ground working through some lap traffic. Gap now 1.75 seconds. Aiden Schultz is there, 1.3 seconds away, and he's going to be on the tailgate of the one truck of Jason Holdsworth. Jason working off turn number 4, 23, now 22 laps to go. Out the back window of Jason Holdsworth, looking back at Aiden Schultz. It's down to less than 1 second. 21 to go here at Nashville Super Speedway. Aiden Schultz is closing. It's down to 0.8 of a second off turn number 2. Down the backstretch once again. Time gained into turn number 3, another 10th. Aiden Schultz has to play it cool here. Plenty of time to go. to catch and pass the one of Jason Holdsworth. No sense in getting those fresher tires hot and greasy, make them all slicked up. Half a second advantage to Jason Holdsworth, though. Aiden Schultz closing even faster here with 20 to go. Right on board with the 52 of Aiden Schultz. He is there, 0.4 of a second back. Jason Holdsworth with the lead, but for how long? Down the backstretch they go another time, 19 to go. Trucks work their way into turn number 3. Aiden Schultz trying to close the gap even more. The one truck slides up a groove. Out of the throttle is the 52. Jason Holdsworth driving that truck for all it'll give him, hanging it out sideways through 1 and 2. Gap still 0.4 of a second. Aiden seemingly tight off turn number 4. 0.3 of a second the gap, back to the 52. Jason Holdsworth has the 9 truck. Sean Stamper to negotiate around, real loose off turn number 2. Once again, the 1 truck. Aiden Schultz is there. It's down to a 10th to the inside. Aiden Schultz looking for the lead in turn number 3 with 17 laps to go. Side by side through 3 and 4. Aiden Schultz wants it. Jason Holdsworth trying to defend, but not going to be enough. Aiden Schultz, your new leader here at Nashville Super Speedway. 16 laps to go for the 52. Can Aiden Schultz bring home his first victory of the season here in the Activity Hub Bolley NASCAR Open Truck Series? So far, so good. Everybody's got fuel to the end. The 52's got tires to the advantage over the one of Holdsworth. Jason Holdsworth running in second. Jason could certainly afford to run the gamble here this afternoon as he comes in with a pretty significant advantage in the points. Running in the second spot, only 4 trucks currently on the lead lap with 15 to go. No matter what happens, he's not going to lose a ton of points, but it's certainly going to make things interesting rolling into Darlington next week, no matter what happens. Aiden Schultz now trying to work around the 9 truck of Stamper. Stamper goes high, gives the position to the 52. Again, Stamper being a lap truck. Aiden Schultz through turns 1 and 2 once again. 12.5 to go here in the Nashville 200. Aiden Schultz just needs to run a clean race from here to the end. Jason Holdsworth still holding his own, only about a second back from Aiden Schultz at this point, running in the second position. Raymond Yeager, however, back to the third spot. He is only 6.25 seconds back from Jason Holdsworth, ready to pounce if there's an issue with the one. Andy Barber back to the 13-second range there in the fourth spot. Ten laps to go here in the Activity Hub Valley Nashville 200. Aiden Schultz so far looking to be on easy street here in Nashville with the tire strategy late. First set of stops, Holdsworth was out to a 3-second advantage on his in and out time. Pit from the second spot, came out in the lead over the 52 of Aiden Schultz. Schultz decided he was going to pit late, not take tires, save them for the end, hopefully get a caution, but did it under green, knowing that the leader Holdsworth was going to have to make a splash and go to make it to the end. Aiden Schultz tracked down the one of Holdsworth, put the pass on, and the 52 leads here with 8 laps to go. Deficit back to second place. Holdsworth now 1.6 seconds. Although it's not going to be a win for the one, it's certainly a valiant effort. Very impressive to be running this close to the lead with the tires the age that they are. Seven laps to go. Raymond Yeager is closing on the one truck of Jason Holdsworth. Don't know if he has quite enough time to make up that ground. Distance back to the 23 from the one, about 5.6 seconds with 6 laps to go. Last laps between the two, only about a tenth, maybe a half a tenth separation. So don't expect the 23 truck to take over second place here before we are all said and done. Five laps to go for the Aussie Esports machine. The number 52 of Aiden Schultz continues to lead. Wasn't able to take home pole position here tonight, but so far leads with less than 5 laps to go in the Nashville 200. Four laps to go for the 52. Again, Jason Holdsworth now 2 seconds back from the 52 of Aiden Schultz. Still very impressive run for the one truck, even managing to stay 2 seconds back from Aiden on fresher tires. Things do tend to equalize over the course of the run. Aiden Schultz at the line, 2 more laps around the Nashville Super Speedway, and the checkered flag is his, as well as the trophy and a couple extra points in the standings. White flag in the air for Aiden Schultz, the number 52 Aussie Esports Toyota Tundra, one more time around the Nashville Super Speedway. Aiden Schultz for the final time down the back straightaway. The Nashville 200 will be his in just a couple of more corners. Worked some tire strategy here this afternoon to get by Jason Holdsworth, the pole sitter, off turn number 4. Aiden Schultz sees the checkered flag, and he will win the Activity Hub Bali Nashville 200. Belongs to the 52 here. Congratulations to Aiden Schultz. Second place, Jason Holdsworth. Third is Raymond Yeager. Fourth, Andy Barber. And coming home in the 5th spot, one lap down to the 99 of Derek Jacobs. Celebration time for the 52 of Aiden Schultz. Second in the points, winless throughout the season so far until this afternoon. Aiden Schultz victorious here at Nashville Super Speedway, the Activity Hub Bali Nashville 200. Aiden Schultz's name will go on that trophy. We'll be back with our top 3 interviews after this. Welcome back to Nashville Super Speedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. We're about to talk to our top 3, Aiden Schultz, Jason Holdsworth, and Raymond Yeager. First and foremost, let's bring Aiden Schultz into the booth. Aiden Schultz, Steve Singer in the HBR TV broadcast booth. Do you got a copy? Having some trouble getting into the booth here. Guys, stand by. We'll see what we can get figured out here. Aiden, you got a copy? Copy?
Yeah, I've got a copy, Steve. Thank you, mate.
Aiden Schultz, win number 1 on the season, and he did it with impressive fashion. Worked some tire strategy there late. Made it work for you in the end. How confident were you that that was going to work out with a trophy for you?
100% the whole way through. Pretty much through practice, I was quicker. Into qualifying, I sort of nuffed my lap a little bit. but I wasn't concerned about the pace. Been a little bit disappointed on how the super speedway stuff went, and that's really not allowed me to really fight Jace in the championship. But tonight, or today our time, smaller field, but yeah, really comfortable. I knew I had that on strategy the whole way. Where Jace got me earlier, I just let him go and kept saving the fuel to make sure I was going to try do it on 2 stops. And then when I realised I couldn't, I put the foot down again. You could see that I was catching Jace, and then yeah, I just realised, well, I've saved the fuel now, so I'm going to be stationary longer when I do the no tyre stop. And I did that. And then as soon as I could make it to the end, I come in and took tyres. And Jace was 10 seconds down the road, but I don't think he was ever going to hold on because I know what the truck was like when I did the double stint as well. And yeah, it just worked out well. I could just see it was going to happen all night.
Well, you can certainly see that with Jason on older tires, it did not take very long for you to track him down and eventually make that pass for the lead. I didn't expect him to give you too much resistance once you got there, just knowing for a fact that you were on fresh tires. He wasn't. It was just the strategy that was played in the end, and it worked out to your advantage. So, again, congratulations for that. How do you feel about going into Darlington? I know you were 23 points down coming into tonight. Didn't gain a ton, just given where Jason finished. What are the odds next week? You just got to have a perfect race and hope Jason doesn't.
Yeah, looking at what the results were tonight, probably got 5 points or 6 points on Jason. I got the fastest lap of the race, obviously winning it as well. He got most laps led, so I'll get a little bit back on him. But going into the final round, he's probably got it tied up, to be honest, and it's well-deserved by Jace. In those tough races, he just kept going around and could do what he needed to do. Going into Darlington, yeah, one of my really strong tracks. Yeah, I'm pretty confident going into it, but as long as Jace can just keep the number one on the track and sort of circulate, he's pretty much got this one done. But yeah, pretty confident going into next round and the final round of what's been a really good open truck series, the first open league I've ever done.
I got to ask, are you happy that you didn't sit home watching Bathurst tonight?
I've still got it on in the background. I'm going to go and watch it now. I was contemplating not running, so I knew that I sort of pretty much all the cards need to fall my way to win the championship. But then I thought, no, you got to get in and support the series. We've done it for 10, 11 weeks now. Get in and support it. And I'll go back and watch the biggest race in Australian motorsport now that I've come off with a W. And yeah, we'll have a good afternoon.
Well, Aiden, congratulations once again. We'll let you go so you can go watch the race. But before we do so, is there anybody that you need to thank sponsor-wise or anybody that helps you get this done?
Of course, first and foremost, as I always say, my beautiful partner, Prue, number one supporter. Thanks to her for always supporting me. Not here today in the background having a look. She's got a baby shower that she had to go to, but we got the W done tonight. Of course, Aussie Esports, our Australia-New Zealand team. I'm the co-owner with Ruben Phelps. Ruben was going to be in today as well, but unfortunately, Bathurst is on, so he thought that was more important, which is completely understandable. Big shout out to Brett Campbell and Tristan Koch, the Aussie Esports development drivers as well. They did a great job tonight. And what was a smaller field, but some good quality racing apart from that early caution. And of course, you guys up in the HBR TV broadcast booth for broadcasting, and you've done a sensational job all year. Obviously, I do a bit of broadcasting as well, and I know how hard it is. So you guys do a sensational job bringing all the action to the viewers, and look forward to rounding out the season next week with a nice solid result and watching it back.
Well, Aiden, we certainly appreciate the pat on the back for that. Always good to hear from a fellow broadcaster with a little bit of kudos, but good job tonight. Congratulations on the victory. We'll look to see how things turn out next week in Darlington. Thanks.
Look forward to it. Have a great night, Steve.
That was Aiden Schultz, your winner here tonight. Nashville Super Speedway's Nashville 200. Let's go to our second place finisher, Jason Holdsworth. Let's pull Jason up into the broadcast booth. Jason Holdsworth, it is Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. Jason, not a great finish. I mean, it's second. It's awesome. It's good, but it's not a win. You seemed like you had this thing locked up here at some point, but all of a sudden the tire strategy came into play. Aiden had a a fresh set over the wall. Didn't take tires on that second to last stop and closed down the gap in a hurry and unfortunately put the pass on your stance. What could you have done differently? Could you really just play different strategy? Did you consider different strategy late in the race?
It wasn't about strategy for me for this race for me. I was struggling a little bit with the setup. I was tight on the first two setups, and then on the second to last stop where I took the tires, I took a big swing and loosened it up, and it wasn't the right thing to be honest. Um, but Aiden fully deserved it. Consistent. Um, it was a great race. I loved it, and I'm happy with second. This is not my favorite track, so I'm stoked with second.
Well, speaking of loose, we certainly saw that truck about 30 to 40 degrees sideways off turn number 2 a couple of times late in the run. I was just impressed you were able to hang on to it, so that was incredible. But you ran a great race. Yes, second place is one thing. You still put it on pole, and I think you might have had the fastest lap of the race. I have to go back and look. But points are relatively tight going into next week. What are your strategies going into Darlington to lock up this championship?
I will be practicing a lot. Aiden obviously cutting the gap this week is going to make Darlington probably a must-watch week. It's going to be close because I know Aiden is strong there as well. I have been strong in there in the past. I do like the track as well, Darlington. So the finale is going to be exciting.
Well, I, for one, like Darlington. I know the guys at HBR that I race with on a regular basis, they don't particularly like Darlington, but I'm a fan of it. It's difficult, but it's fun to run around there. We wish you the best of luck, as well as Aiden. Hope for a good showing next week from the both of you guys and put on a decent show, and we're going to call it a season.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, Jason. Well, before we let you go, of course, I'm sure there's some new sponsors on that number one truck that we talked about last week that you'd like to get into the stream. So go ahead and you can mention them there, and we'll get you on to Darlington Motor Speedway.
Yeah, definitely want to thank the whole team at Nitro Racing. Help with the setup, help with a bit of guidance on what to do at this track with the tricky conditions. Especially thanks to Russ, naturally helping me quite a fair bit, getting rid of some of my bad habits in the last month, as I said last week, and helping me a lot in my sim racing. Obviously, Dean, one of my usual teammate, who's not here with us today. Always want to thank him and thank Activity Hub Bali and Inside Lane Productions and yourself, Steve, as always. Looking forward to rewatching the broadcast after the race.
Well, thanks, Jason. We certainly appreciate that, as always. And I got to say, those Nitro Racing setups have got to be doing you well because I've seen another significant increase in your I rating in just the week since you ran last week. You got to be kicking some tail out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've actually had a bad week, to be honest. I actually got up to 4,200 and just been caught up in some of the stuff that happens in officials this week. So it happens. It goes up and goes down. But obviously, yeah, had a big increase in my rating in recent weeks and very happy with that.
Try to give the guy a compliment. Jason, thanks, man. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week in Darlington. We'll appreciate it.
See you next week. Thanks again, Steve.
Jason Holdsworth, second place finisher here tonight. Still your point leader going into Darlington next week. Last but not least, let's go to Raymond Yeager, our third place finisher. Raymond Yeager at Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, mate.
Raymond, we've talked to you in Victory Lane here at some point or another this season. I know it was early on. Today you bring it home in the third position. For the most part, the battle was really Aiden Schultz and Jason Holdsworth, but tell us about your race.
Yeah, didn't have much for those two. I got a bit of damage in that first lap incident, so I think that probably had a little bit of an effect. But I mean, I'd never driven this track before either, so it took me probably 45 laps to sort of figure out how to get around the place quickly. And by then they were already 8, 10, 12 seconds up the road. Never really got it back. So yeah.
Well, as far as the points are concerned, I know it's not as big of an issue for you as far as the championship is concerned, but nevertheless, a top 3 finish, still something to be proud of here at Nashville Super Speedway. Before we let you get out of the chat here, is there anybody that you need to thank that helps you get things done here in the Activity Hub Bali Open Truck Series?
Oh yeah, for sure. The boys at Pinnacle Esports Racing, Greg Spencer, Nigel Patton, Matt Patton, and Justin Witcher. We worked together all week to sort of get a decent handle on things. To this week, we didn't get a chance to practice, but that's okay. Obviously, our team sponsors 186, Speech and Language Development Australia, CarWorks, Witcher Electrics, and the Sim Racing Edge, who provide our setups. Once again, solid setup tonight. Yeah, without those guys, it would be a bit more difficult than it is. So, yeah, no, thanks to all those.
Well, Raymond Yeager, third place finish after starting sixth. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next week at Darlington, South Carolina.
Yeah, cheers, mate. So, give it a crack.
Was Raymond Yeager your third place finisher here at Nashville Super Speedway? We've talked to the top three. We'll take a peek look into the official race results. Of course, our winner, Aiden Schultz, in the number 52, worked the tire strategy late to bring it home into the P1 position. Jason Holdsworth was second. Raymond Yeager third. Andy Barber was fourth. Derek Jacobs was fifth. Sean Stamper, again a late arrival, still brought the truck home in the sixth position. Tristan Coach was seventh. Maxie Marshall was eighth. Brett Campbell was ninth. Michael Shore, the SimRacerMerch.com machine, was 10th. Adam Malone was 11th, and Glenn Klein, your last truck, finishes 12th. Again, Glenn really only got one lap, not even a full lap in, was involved in that first lap incident that brought out our only yellow flag of the afternoon. So with that, I must say, even for a 12-truck field, we had a good night. It was a good race here at the Nashville 200, the Activity Hub Bali Open Truck Series. Sorry, I had a little brain fart there. Couple sponsors that we certainly want to thank. Whiplash Media for providing custom cameras for tonight's event, and of course, Activity Hub Bali for providing sponsorship to the series, as well as Inside Lane Productions. Before we let everybody go, we want to mention the Inside Lane Productions driver of the race, and that goes to the 99 Southern Esports truck of Derek Jacobs. Finishes fifth tonight, 7 positions above where he started. I think he was at the tail end of the field at the beginning. So that award goes to the 99 of Derek Jacobs. So lastly, for HBR TV, I'm Steve Singer, and we will see you next week in Darlington. Thanks for watching, everybody.